All right, welcome back. We're really pleased to be joined this week by Travis L. Brown of KBTX in Bryan, Texas, formerly the Bryan College Station Eagle, expert on all things Texas A&M. Travis, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, glad to be part of it.
So, we'll start at the top. You're a member of the FWA All-American Committee. You vote with us each week on the Cheez It Crunch Time Play of the Week, Pop-Tarts Crazy Good Team of the Week. The winners for this week, Georgetown. They won the Cheez It Crunch Time Play of the Week, a Hail Mary win to beat Morgan State. I know you voted for that play. What stood out about that moment among the candidates this week?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of great candidates and a lot of great games that went down to the wire, but you just can't beat a Hail Mary throw to win a game, and especially from the fact that it was, I believe, about a 50-yard pass. He was rolling out and was able to throw a great kind of back shoulder-esque, you put it to right where the receiver could get it kind of throw. In that moment, with what was on the line, I mean, you can't get much better than that. So pretty impressive play, and one that we haven't really seen one quite like that this year.
Well, we haven't. We had A&M did win the crunch time play of the week a couple weeks ago for their game-winning touchdown catch against Notre Dame, but not in a Hail Mary variety. So it's always fun to see plays like that. The other award for this week, Pop-Tarts Crazy Good Team of the Week, went to UCLA for their win over Penn State, first win of the season for the Bruins. What were your thoughts on that game? I don't think many had it playing out that way on their bingo card.
Not at all. I think there was plenty, myself included, that thought UCLA might go undefeated might go defeated for the rest of the season with how the season had started. They already relieved their coach of his duties, had brought on an offensive coordinator just early that week to change things up. And I think we're just going to go with Nico. I've never been great at saying his last name, but Nico was definitely able to go out there and kind of show why he was a top portal target when he got in at the time. I think just by measure of what the expectations or the floor might have been for UCLA and the expectations for Penn State coming into that game, you couldn't match that kind of upset this week.
Nico, of course, a former Citrus Bowl MVP from his days at Tennessee, so he knows what it's like to play under the big lights, you could say. Another strong candidate for Team of the Week this week was Florida, which obviously beat Texas in Gainesville last week. They're getting ready to pay a visit to College Station this weekend. What are your thoughts on the Gators as Texas A&M looks ahead to that game, and what does A&M have its eyes on as they prepare to welcome the Gators to town?
Yeah, really strong defense. They've had a pretty strong defense throughout the entirety of the season, even when things were looking kind of shaky to start the year. I think it was the offense that wasn't quite clicking early. DJ Lagway, of course, is the guy that they put all their hope in to kind of carry that offense. And he struggled a little bit early in the season, but he seems to be kind of coming into his own, cut down on the turnovers. Turnovers were a huge part of some of their lack of success early on, and went out and beat a good Texas team that is still kind of trying to find its identity. It has a lot of talent on paper, but trying to find its identity on the field this season. I think this is probably going to be the best defense A&M has faced this season. That's saying something because Notre Dame was projected to have a pretty good defense, but I think it's going to be one of the top defenses A&M will see this year. The matter of the interesting part will be if the offense can continue what they were able to do last week against Texas. And it's a homecoming game for DJ Lagway, who's from about an hour and a half away from here in College Station over in Willis, Texas. So some good storylines there. It'll be a fun one.
Now, do you see that translate in your experience? Like when you have a prominent Texas kid who goes off and plays somewhere else when they come back home, given the Texas high school football culture, do you see a lot of enthusiasm for hometown kids when they come back?
Yeah. Usually there's a much bigger away crowd in that section. There's a familiarity. It happens pretty frequently with, of course, how good Texas high school football is, and especially the quarterbacks that can get brought up here. And so I think it'll always there'll always be some people who are familiar with those guys who left here, the Texas expats who left here to go play at other places. But DJ Lagway is another interesting one too, because A&M and Mike Elko's made no qualms about the fact that they were going hard after Lagway when Elko was hired on as the head coach and trying to get him to be an Aggie, but he was pretty much always committed to Florida. And decided that that's the place he wanted to go, even though he kind of, listened to what A&M had to say late in the process. But one of those kind of matchups where you look at and whichever quarterback comes out with the win, you can kind of look and go, maybe what could have been, or maybe this was the right choice. So that's always a little bit fun of the soap opera of recruiting in college football.
Coach Elko's, got a team that's quietly taking care of business with the team they got this year. They're up in the top 5 now. There's still plenty of football to play, of course, but what's the buzz been like in College Station? Are fans buying in, or are they believing this is the year, or what do you expect for A&M down the line?
I think A&M's fans are tentatively optimistic. There is some existential dread that comes along with being an A&M fan. That most A&M fans will tell you that there's been plenty of times that the season looked like it was going to go really good and something happened down the stretch. I mean, even as long as early as last year, where they were cruising and then hit South Carolina and then hit a little bit of stretch of some losing games, still had a chance to go to the SEC title game. It would have been their first since joining the SEC, but couldn't beat Texas in that final game, and that sent Texas to the title game. So I think once A&M starts getting in a position where, right now they're at 0-5, it's the longest winning streak to start the season since 2016. That 2016 team went 6-0, where it was ranked number 4 in the first college football playoff poll of the season, and then the very next week went and lost at Mississippi State when then quarterback Trevor Knight got hurt early in the first quarter and they couldn't recover, and that ended up being an 8-4 season in the regular season, even though they started 6-0. So I think. I don't know if A&M fans will fully exhale on a really great season until they get to the finish line, but I think there's some definite strong optimism about what this team's been able to do so far.
I know we've been seeing them, a fair amount in our bowl projections as we look throughout the year for the Citrus Bowl. That normally goes to an 8, 9, 10 win SEC team against Big Ten teams. So we'll certainly be curious here in Orlando to see how their next several weeks play out as well. I was curious to ask you. You mentioned Coach Elko earlier. He's now in his second full season at A&M. How would you characterize the impact he's had on the program since he took over after Jimbo's departure?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's culture. That's one of the things he emphasized. He's talked about a lot, and I think it's pretty evident in the fact that not only is A&M winning and winning well with what they've been able to bring in, but I think A&M players are, their mantra coming into the season was finishing, because the example I gave, there's been so many times where A&M has started really well but didn't necessarily finish. That's been evident in the minutia, and the fact that they've only had one failure in the red zone this year. They've been able to finish with points in just about every time they enter the red zone. Their defense has finished plays. Last year, they had a lot of guys on the defensive line who were able to get to the quarterback, but not necessarily bring him down. They already had Cassius Howell with 7 sacks this season in 5 games, which is we would be on pace to be among some of the great pass rushers in A&M history if he can continue that pace. So and then being a part of the community, they did kind of a community charity softball game or celebrity softball game earlier this fall to let people get to see some of the players and coaches interacting in ways that you don't necessarily get to see on the football field. Mike Elko, when he goes to his weekly radio show, he makes a point to walk around and shake everybody's hand who comes out to watch live in person and have some little conversations with some of those people. So I think it's a more approachable Texas A&M program, and that's kind of garnered some extra love from the fan base, and I think got a little more maybe buy-in from some of the players to get them where they are.
That's interesting stuff. And, and I know you spoke about the community there in the Bryan College Station area. I know you've been there a long time. We often have our team selection committee scouts on the road, paying visits to schools across the country. I know Midnight Yell is obviously a huge highlight at A&M. What are some of the other things that stand out to you that make for a memorable trip to an A&M?
I have to say, A&M is a really good food town. You might not necessarily think of it, but there is some really good local restaurants around here, and just about any place you stop in, you're gonna find a good place to eat. Yeah, of course, on a game weekend, Midnight Yell, the Northgate district is always a popular place to go hang out with some of the nightlife in College Station, and they've done a good job about bringing in some concerts, some entertainment, some things going on, during game times and in the off seasons as well. So, I moved here from Dallas about 10 years ago, thinking that this was a small town, and I've come to realize that pretty much anything you need is here in College Station, and there's plenty of good, fun things to do, great places to eat, and it's especially really turned up on a game weekend.
And do you have a go-to barbecue joint there? You must.
Oh yeah, I mean Cooper's is always a really good place. I haven't been. I'm not the barbecue connoisseur, the type that's going to venture out to like Lexington or one of these places in an even smaller town where you have to line up at 10 a.m. That's not necessarily my go-to, but Cooper's, C&J's are really good places in town. Probably my go-to right now for as far as restaurants is Stella Southern Cafe. It's kind of a lunch brunch spot, but it's one of those kind of biscuit based brunch places. They have really good like biscuit French toast, and you can get the SEC, which is a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit sandwich that's almost the size of like a small hamburger. And you can get the biscuits French toasted, which is extra delicious. So that's kind of been my go-to place as of late.
I have already noted that down for my first trip to A&M that I need to stop for one of those biscuits. Travis, we appreciate you joining us. It's always fun to catch up, to go through the awards, to talk about what's coming. Best of luck this weekend as the Gators come to town. Hopefully, it's an easy deadline for you, and we'll look forward to catching you down the line.
I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Travis. We'll talk to you soon.